A very good evening to you and welcome to the desk here on Global Television. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, the federal government has raised alarm over impending flood set to hit 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, placing over 1,200 communities at high risk this year. The warning came during the course of last week, April the 10th, during the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook AFO presentation by the Nigerian Meteorological Services Agency, NIHSA, in Abuja. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Usef, revealed that coastal and riverine flooding will likely affect part of the South-South due to the rising sea levels, with Bayelsa, Delta, Cross River, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Edo are the most vulnerable states, even by the minister's prediction. The outlook identified 1,249 communities across 176 local government areas as high-risk zones, while an additional 2,187 communities in 293 local governments will face moderate flooding risk. Flat states include Lagos, Benue, Jigawa, Abia, and Kogi. To enhance preparedness, this year's flood forecast includes a novel community-based flood prediction. Well, joining me to talk about Nigerian's flood outlook and how it will affect agriculture in general, it's Emmanuel Abusen, who is joining us live on the desk. But first, you're welcome to the desk.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
All right, so you've listened to some of what we've read right now.
Yeah.
Looking at the flood outlook, it tends to be, it seems as though it's going to be one interesting flood this year. But how will you react to what the minister have said so far?
Yes, so my reaction is, I'll say their reaction or respond to it is that it's high time that we get our farmers prepared with adequate information and timely information. Timely information to make sure that they are prepared for what is about to happen to us. We've been having similar cases like this before now, but we need to make them understand that we need to prepare for the contingencies, especially for farmers, because this is where it affects or interests me the most. The NISA has given us the flood outlook. So it's now for us that provide services to farmers, especially the extension service workers, to get the farmers ready, especially with the right information so that they can make informed decisions.
All right. This information is coming just last month. And by the predictions, meteorological predictions for this year, we're told that the rains will start coming in from March 30th. And this, what we've just read right now, is coming in by April the 10th. The timing for this information, you think it is late? Can farmers be able to augment with this timing? Is the notice too short for farmers? All
right, so notice not actually too short, because there are some factors you need to put into considerations when developing outlooks like this, the outlook. So you see, when they gather their informations, predictions, and then also forecast, there's some tests it has to pass to make sure that all of these informations are right, and they're at least to our average over 80 to 70% correct, accurate, so that we don't have issues where farmers or Nigerians will say, NIMED said this, NISA said this, but it is not accurate. So before it becomes something that can be disclosed to the public, there are factors that need to be in check. And I think that's one of the things they have done. And the timing is quite very accurate. The timing is, because we are still in the planting season, land preparation just started, and I think this is the right time for that. So it's still quite on time, and it will help farmers put good checks in place. Again, why it's going to also help is the fact that before the before farmers will start putting things to the soil, especially these flood-prone areas, there are information that they need to have. And that is one of the information that are provided already. And then we now look at it at the period where this flood will start, and the gestation period for like from planting to harvest of particular certain crops. What is the duration? Can we do this? Can we not do this? What should we do? Yes, like I said, in drawing farming calendar. Now, so the agencies, especially agencies that are meant to help farmers in drawing farming calendars, which is the extension services, we have from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Department of Extension Services. So this is the time where they need to now put efforts together to make sure now the information that have been passed last month start getting to the farmers again, like I said, timely delivery, so that farmers know how to start planning themselves.
Well, quite interesting. Let's look at the outlook in itself. 30 states will be affected and will be hit by this flood.
Yes.
Going with the current economic realities, doesn't this spell doom for the state in terms of price of commodities, which is already up? Won't this also further push this state into a near state of comatose?
All right, so just like you mentioned, one of the things again that will happen that I'm afraid is market shock.
Okay.
Yes, so in the economy, every decision has its play on the market. It has to do with decisions on the buyers and the sellers. Now, the states that this is going to be affected, that will be affected, might also vary in terms of landscape. We'll look at landscape, what size of the land will be covered. So let's say, for example, Kogi, for example, it's not the entirety of these states that will be covered. Some portions will be covered. Now, what we need to do, like I said, is preparing for these things. How do we prepare for them? Where are the risk zones? The risk zones in these areas. So we mark them out. So we ask farmers not to cultivate in these particular areas. We have over 60% of our land in Nigeria uncultivated. And this land uncultivated are arable lands. So we can start moving our farming activities from risk zones to zones that are less risk prone. And then we do our farming there. Now, one of the things I think the government needs to start paying attention to is not about repeating mistakes or repeating cycle of poverty, where we have issues where the same particular areas that were affected 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago is still the same areas that will still be affected. And now what we keep doing is more of cure. We are trying to cure it. We are trying to give aids. We are trying to cushion the effect when we can actually prevent. So these areas that we know are risk prone, let's start moving farming activities from there to areas where we know are less affected. Again, over 60% of our land is arable, uncultivated. So let's move farming activities there. So I think we need to become very proactive and very preventive, so that we don't repeat the cycle of poverty.
I think the government is ready?
The government is ready and not ready. And when I say not ready, is we like the sweet soft spot in Nigeria, where we like to do the sweet soft spot. We try to do the easy thing and feel like we're working. Just like when you go to any ministry now, you see everybody's trying to do something. It's like they're busy, but I call it the barrenness of busy minds. They are busy, but you cannot see the effect. You cannot see the result of why they're being busy. So government is ready. Yes, there are funds for it. Now, not ready on the other part is the drivers that are meant to make this happen are not actually putting the efforts together. We have the Federal Department of Extension Services. We have the Ministry of Agriculture. We have the Rural Development. And all of these agencies are highly funded. NISAL has done its own job. NIMET has done their own. It is not us that are in the intermediary between the farmers and these agencies now to break these communications down into achievable results, so that these farmers will get to understand that whatever action we take has its own effect. Then also we consult with the government and also advise the government. Why not fund like this? Why not we take these decisions? The states, the land in Nigeria belongs to the states. So the state government should also become proactive through the Ministry of Agriculture. And we now start looking at it, okay, this particular place where there are forests, can we start doing land development there? Now, in Nigeria, again, we have National or Nigerian Land Development Authority, NLDA, which is also saddled with the responsibility to develop lands for cultivation, because we have difference between land development and land preparation. So farmers can only prepare the land, but there's an agency that is saddled with the responsibility to develop this land to become usable by the farmers. So some of our farmers, some of our forests should be developed so that we can start moving activities to this arable land. Again, I'll keep emphasizing, over 60% of our land are arable and uncultivated.
All right. 1,200 communities will be affected and will be hit by this flood. And you've said that the government should talk to farmers and also taking people to lands that have not been cultivated.
Yes.
But then again, we know that in most of the riverine communities and in some parts of Nigeria, farming is more of a family trait, where you must farm on your family's land.
Yes.
And if you leave your family land and venture into another person's land, automatically you have encroached
Into the person, yes.
You violated certain principles and laws even within the country.
Yes.
Now, you said at this point, do you think that farmers, Nigerian farmers, are ready to move to other lands if the government is even recommending? Or the farmers will want to stick to what they believe even at this point? Or how will you react to this?
Right. See, education in Nigeria is something we need to pay attention to. So, this land is your father's land. It's costing you your life. It's costing you loss of resources. Now, we are saying, it's not as if we are saying that this is not your father's land. But at this time frame, can we move you? Can we provide the alternative? Again, you're not going to another man's land. We're talking about the land that is owned by state. By the law, by the constitution, the land belongs to states, not to individuals, right? Yeah. Now, the government is now providing you an alternative for a particular farming season to help us. We're trying to prevent, this is like contingencies, so that we can de-risk the forecast that is about to hit you. So either you leave this land or either you leave the place or not, flood will happen, you're going to be displaced. Now, we're trying to provide you an alternative for the time frame. So I think it still had to do with communication. Now, every policy in Nigeria has either been miscommunicated or misunderstood. So when I mean miscommunication right now is when we talk, let me take a policy like the Ruga policy, for example, where we're talking about having rural settlements for herders. So the policy was miscommunicated and it was misunderstood by the people, because it was becoming like a tale of religion and politics and tribal war. Now, when we're going to have issues like this, it's going to be very good when we deliberately educate the people. One, the risks it will cost them. The loss of resources is going to also cost them. And the alternative we're providing for them to save the state and also put us in an advantage position. Advantage position in the sense that we're going to have enough food. When we don't have enough food, it's clear that we're doomed for war. In either way. Because if let's take a look at the Holy Scriptures, the Bible, for example, a point came that there was famine, that people had to start cooking their children to eat. Because man must eat, and alternatives must be found. So we're trying to just provide alternatives. That why these areas as risks they are risk prone. Can we give you alternatives? So when we look at the riverine areas, how good have we even used our river bodies in Nigeria? What is irrigation farming like in Nigeria? It's still underutilized, where we have nations like Israel, like Rwanda, making heavy investment in irrigation farming. These are dry lands, even Dubai, for example, where you know that there are no rains and all of that. So have we even used these water bodies? No. So can we start educating the people? Can we start creating structure?